What's up, dudes? Chooch back with another video. Today I'm getting into a full ride video on the LYNX, and I had a gnarly crash, guys, and I want to break down what happened in the crash and tell you what you can do to prevent a similar crash like what I had here. This was pretty gnarly, guys, and it could have been a lot worse than it was. I was just flying down this hill, and you can see just some speed wobbles occurred right there. But I'm going to show y'all in a minute and break down the whole ride. The full ride leading up to it is really fun, guys. I'm going to be coming all the way out of the Rocky Mountains up here. See, we got a bunch of snow on the ground and going all the way down. This is from high altitude, going to be heading all the way down to the city. And I'm really liking this machine, guys. I love the LYNX. Don't let this kind of deter you or anything from the LYNX, guys. You really just got to get your rear end low and in your corners. And if you look, what I'm going to show you on the assessment of this whole crash coming up in a minute, you can kind of see where it occurs. I want to show you kind of leading up to it, because all the corners leading up to it, guys, I'm real smooth through all of them. I get no wobbles, nothing, no problems at all. I'm real smooth on this wheel, guys. What ended up happening, kind of give you a preliminary on it, was I was going down the steepest part of my entire descent, guys. That one part right there is really steep, and I was flying. I was going really fast, and I had my carve, I had my carve going on before I ended up getting speed wobbles. But what happened is I wanted to not carve close to that car that was going to be coming in the other lane. Like, I gave them plenty of room, but even with, a controlled little kind of a slow carve coming down that descent right there, I still didn't want to glide over too far and kind of spook that car that was coming up the road. So what I did is I had my carve going on, but instead of carving, I kind of just left one carve out. And it just shows how important it is to always be carving, especially downhill in the corners, guys. You got to really keep that. It's like kind of doing speed checks on skis or a snowboard or anything like that. On your downhill descents, one thing that really is kind of a lot different, guys, is your foot pedals. Let me explain this to you. When you're coming downhill, the front of your foot pedal is up higher. Even when you're braking and you're coming downhill, technically, you see right here, while I'm going uphill, my foot pedal is low on the front. It's a lot lower. But see, when I'm going downhill, the front of my foot plate is a lot higher. And so when you're coming downhill, you really got to get your rear end low, get your center of gravity low, carve, especially if you're going fast downhill in the corners. And what it'll do is it'll eliminate those wobbles completely. And that's the problem though, like, you can't not carve in some aspects, man. If you got a high speed going on into a downhill, like, I would love to see this in a race. Actually, I would love to see, like, on MotoGP tracks, like over, in Europe especially, they have downhills in the MotoGP tracks. You see that where the superbike riders, they'll be coming over like a hill, and they'll be doing wheelies. Some of them will even catch air, and that's because they put that feature in there, because that shows a good rider. You can ride flat ground all day, but when they put a feature like that in there where there's a downhill in a MotoGP track or something like that, you see it sometimes where the front end of those bikes are coming up. That really takes a lot of skill to master that, guys. And one thing that I haven't practiced a lot on this wheel is fast, high speed coming downhill like that into a sharp corner. And I just really, I almost had it, but it just wasn't, I just couldn't hang on to it. And so I just decided I was gonna, instead of, high siding this thing, getting the speed wobbles and high siding it, trying to stay on it and going over the concrete barrier you'll see in a minute, I just decided I was gonna, I was gonna just lean back, get my weight as far back as I could, put on brakes as much as I could. If I tried to wrench on brakes in that scenario, I don't think it would help much. But the other lane was clear of traffic, and I just decided the best bailing option would definitely be just to lean back and just kind of skid into that barrier, and it worked perfectly. The wheel's not messed up at all. It still is. There's nothing wrong with the electric unicycle, which is amazing. You see how hard this thing will hit in a minute whenever I do hit the barrier, but it hits with the tire, it bounces off, and I immediately got back on it and just started riding it again. So One thing I will be doing with this wheel is taking that kickstand off the back, guys. I didn't get hurt at all in the crash, really, like from the crash. But the only thing that did hurt me was the kickstand on the back. It hit my shin, and I had so much adrenaline just rolling, man. You see right here, I mean, the adrenaline is pumping, especially you take a spill on one of these things, and the adrenaline is just going. And that kickstand hit it got a gnarly kind of a corner on the back of it back there, and that thing hit directly on my shin, and it almost went through to the bone, guys. And I had just one little hole in my shin, and I didn't even notice it. Like, I could tell that it hurt, you know, but I just kept riding, and whenever I got back, my whole sock was just covered, you know, and coated in blood. So that's just, and it's not bad. I put some Neosporin on it and it healed up. But you see that kickstand, what I'm talking about back there? You see how sharp those edges are on that thing? You can unbolt it and take it off. That's what I'm going to do, because that thing did, man. That thing stuck right in my leg, dude. It hurt pretty bad. So that's just, and I would have been fine if that thing wouldn't have been back there. It's just that sharp edge that hit me. And that's what it kind of concerns me about. If you look at that new wheel, like the Commander GT Pro, that thing has like two gnarly, like sharp fins on the back of it. If you crash that thing flew up and hit your back or something, or anything. Like, I think they need to make the designs, thinking about these things flying into you, etc. So, like, that kickstand, it works really good on the back, but after this crash, that's definitely got to go. So I'm gonna be taking that off of there for sure. So, but overall, man, the LYNX is incredible. I love how it cruises. You see right here, I'm having no handling issues. It's just, what happened is I tried to give that car a little bit too much room. Coming up, you'll see it, and then I kind of stopped my carve. I literally, instead of carving all the way over to the left, I decided to stay right, and the wobbles started, dude. And as soon as those wobbles start, you're going fast downhill like that. I've corrected it a lot of times. You can get out of some speed wobbles, guys, but I was just going way too fast, and I just got spooked and just kind of threw it down. You'll see that just coming up in just a second. And I didn't want to put it, like you see right here, I'm rolling. You watch the transfer of the grade. You see how steep this is? There's buckets off to the side. See those buckets? That's sand, guys, because this is so steep that if there's snow or ice on it, the cars can't get up it. See how I was carving right there? And then I kind of just stopped my carve and boom, slammed right into the Jersey barrier right there.
I'm good. I couldn't hold the wobbles, bro. It took over, dude. It took over. Oh, man. Shit, that was a hard crash, bro. I kind of planned it out, though. Like, there's no safe set.
Alright, so you see I get right back up on the wheel, guys, and start going down the same mountain fast and going for more corners, guys. So one thing to note is it's not the wheel's fault at all, guys. A lot of people say, oh, the LYNX will get some wobbles. Man, all wheels will wobble. It's because these things are getting really fast, bro. Like, these wheels are getting really, really fast, and you have to get your rear end low. See, if I drop the rear end low right there, how it eliminates all the wobbles going in the corners? You just have to do that, bro. Like, you literally, these wheels, they're fast, and you're going in with a lot of speed, guys, and you have to get the center of gravity low enough, and you have to just drop that butt down, and it completely fixes it, guys. So what I should have done to prevent the wobbles going into that hill, guys, is I should have carved harder and I should have regulated my speed a little bit more, okay? And that car that was coming up, you know, I did throw off my carve pattern just a little bit, and you know, that could have sparked it, but in reality, I should have just been going a little bit slower, had my speed checked, and been carving a little bit harder, guys, so that I would have, I should have been able to calculate that corner coming up and had my carbs kind of set up to where I could apex that corner correctly. And you just have to do, when you're coming downhill like that, it's just like with skiing, with snowboarding, with the guys that ride the downhill longboards, they're all carving a little bit, guys. And the carving is just, you have to put it in there. You have to input that carve a little bit because it keeps you in control of whatever device you're riding, whether it be a unicycle or skis, or the carve is everything, guys. And I know I've overstated that a lot in these videos, but when you're actively cornering like that, you don't have to be carving. When you're actively going for your next corner, you're actively turning the machine, it's the straightaways, guys, where the little carves maintain your control over the wheel. And this thing is fast, guys. It is lightweight, and the LYNX is a lightweight wheel, guys, and I like it. You see me riding the V13 on this same road. If you go back and kind of watch that, the V13, it looks a little bit more stable on this road, guys, but it is hard to corner. It is almost not fun to corner. And the reason this thing looks a little bit loose in the corners is because it is, and it's easy to corner, guys. It doesn't take much input at all to get this LYNX to go into a corner, and it is so lightweight, and that's what makes it a crazy, aggressive, you know, race type wheel. I really do like this wheel a lot, and there's one big factor that is the key factor about the LYNX that I like about it, and it's the first electric unicycle that has not held me back in any way. There's room for improvement as a rider on this wheel, to get faster on it, to learn how to corner it better, to learn how to control it better, everything, because this is, I mean, it is a high performance, lightweight, I mean, this thing is just, it's a beast, man. And you see, riding downhill like this, down a steep slope, it's a little bit harder, man, than just riding on flat ground, etc. And one of the main things is the whole time I'm coming down this, while you're coming down a slope, your front toes are definitely higher up off the ground, and that's just one thing to note. And it's just, you have to change your style up a little bit to contend with that. But I literally said this the other day. I got off the LYNX and I was like, man, the one thing that I love about this wheel is it does not hold me back in any way, shape, or form. I have room to get faster on this thing for sure, and definitely improve as a rider, and the wheel is not holding me back. And man, I never thought we'd get to this point. I really didn't, guys. Like, we have like the V13, yeah, that thing is a rocket ship. It's fast, it's stable in a straight line, but this thing is crazy, man. And the fact that, like, how well you can get it to just snap into corners, how lightweight it is, how fast it is, it blows my mind. And this is the first wheel that has ever really made me just be like, you know what? We are not held back by the machine anymore as electric unicycle riders. You know, some people may be better than me on this thing, and they may be pushing it to the brink and want something even more. But I'm telling you, man, like, we're getting to the point now, like with this, you look at the specs of the LYNX, you look at the specs of like the ET Max, for example. I definitely want to try out the ET Max. And I think the ET Max is, I mean, that wheel is, you look at the stats on that thing and the specs of that wheel, and they are incredible. Same with this wheel, guys, but with Leopard, you're getting quality. You know, I haven't tried the ET Max because I gave the Be Good Extreme a really harsh review. But man, if the Extreme would have had the stats the ET Max would have had, there's no way I would have ever had that cutoff crash like I had back when, you know. So the ET Max, on paper, that seems like a wheel just like the LYNX, where you wouldn't be held back by it. Like, you could really, you know, get that thing and just push it as hard as you wanted to. You know, I'm saying this from looking at some of the videos I've seen, some of the pictures, the specs, etc. That thing looks like a great wheel. But I want to just say, like, the Leopard LYNX, guys, I've never had a problem with any Leprechaun wheels, man. They really are great. And you just see the thing just went into a Jersey barrier at like 40 miles an hour and nothing was wrong with it. Nothing flew off of it. It literally, it's built very well, guys. And one thing about the LYNX that I really like is because it is lightweight, guys, you get that whole thing going for you about when you crash something. Like if you crash something that's really like say 10 pounds heavier than this, or a wheel like the V13 or something like that, yeah, they're built well, but that's a lot of mass, just rotating mass, just crashing into the ground. One benefit you get about the LYNX, dudes, is it's built really well and it's lightweight, so you have that factor of where, like a lot of the old wheels, like a lot of the wheels from back in the day, guys, like I'm talking like 2016, 2017, they could take a huge beating because they're so lightweight. And like even if you crash them at like 30 miles an hour, it didn't have a lot of mass to propel itself into anything and continue braking and crashing, you know? So this wheel has that that's one thing that's not been mentioned at all, but it's so lightweight and built so well, it can take a gnarly crash way better than any other wheel that I've rode at these high speeds for sure. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This thing definitely, if you want something built well and something that's going to take a beating, this thing will do it. But one thing I'm going to do for sure, take that rear kickstand off the back there. I think is a little bit dangerous, like I said. But other than that, man, like that was some hard riding what I just did, coming down a really steep descent, a lot of really tight corners in there. And it's not like riding flat ground, guys. That takes a lot of, you know, that's hard to take those corners at speed coming downhill like that. But I encourage you to try it. Maybe work up to it. If you want to go do some mountain carving like that, some mountain riding, it's a lot of fun, guys. But one scenario to definitely watch out for, dudes, is your steep downhills like that. Take it easy and work your way up to it, and don't do what I did when you're coming into a corner like that, and kind of just learn the wheel. Just learn how fast you can go into your downhill sharp corners. Downhill sharp corners are one of the hardest things to master on just street riding on electric unicycle. You know, it's way different than jumping and tricks, anything like that. If it comes to just street riding, your downhill sharp corners are very hard to master on the electric unicycle. But it's not too bad if you take them slow, of course. But if you really want to take those downhill corners at high speeds, and one other thing you can do that would definitely help, guys, is you can get a pedal lowering kit for the LYNX. For a lot of the new wheels out there, you can get a lowering kit. If you're strictly a street rider, now I wouldn't get the lowering kit if you're going to be riding this thing off-road, because having a high pedal height on these electric unicycles gives you a huge benefit riding off-road, because it helps you clear rocks and roots and other obstacles that you may come across. If the lower the pedals are, you can strike rocks and all that type of stuff off-road. But if you're strictly a street rider, you can go for getting a lowering kit for this thing. E-Rides sells them. I think you can find them on eWheels website as well, but you can definitely get a lowering kit, and it'll drop these pedals a little bit, and that'll just keep your center of gravity lower. And guys, for example, if I'd have had that pedal lowering kit on this thing going into that corner, it may have prevented that from happening. It may have just been enough lowering to get that center of gravity low enough to where it wouldn't have triggered those wobbles. But again, I don't want to do that because I like riding this thing off-road. If I see an off-road trail or something like that, or any type of little dirt road or fire road or something like that, you want to be able to go cruising down that. And having the higher pedals is nice, man. You get that suspension travel in there. You still got your pedals up high enough, and you don't have to worry about striking different stuff on the trail. So it's just a trade-off. Like I said, like if I lived in New York City and I never touched dirt, I would definitely get the pedal lowering kit for this thing, because it would just benefit every day of riding. So if you're only on street, definitely look at getting that. And the riding season is upon us, guys. So if you don't have an electric unicycle yet, or you're looking to get your next one and upgrade, now is the time to do it. We got a great riding season ahead of us, guys. I got a bunch of new videos and content I'm going to be putting out there. I took a little hiatus, guys. I've been hitting the slopes, doing some snowboarding. It's just been really snowy. Like, the roads have just been covered in snow, been kind of cold. But definitely want to get out there and do some trail riding, guys. I know y'all love the trail riding content, so more of that to come. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the bell and throw this a thumbs up. I know I usually don't ask for that, but it really helps, man, for the algorithm of this whole video thing. You really got to ask for the thumbs up. If y'all can throw it a thumbs up, that'd be great. And if you want to pick up your next electric unicycle, any wheel of choice, guys, whether you want to get the LYNX, the ET Max, you want to get the V13, whatever you want to get, or even place a pre-order, hit that link below. Even placing the pre-orders gives me a little kickback at no extra cost to you. Helps me keep making these videos, helps me keep buying cameras that I surprisingly didn't break the camera this time, guys. If you see that on the crash, that's one thing that I've developed over time, guys. It's holding onto the camera and not letting the camera crash into the ground. I sacrificed my elbow and my leg and held onto the camera so I'd get the shot and not break the camera. But anyways, dudes, I appreciate y'all watching, and if y'all can, remember to hit the link. It does help me out. I know it's kind of hard to do sometimes. You just want to buy the thing, but if you can remember, hit the link right there. It does help me out, and I do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Whenever you go over ice like that, lower your center of gravity like this.